Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Gracefully Growing podcast, where we talk about real stuff that students like you are facing every single day. And most importantly, how to handle it with a little something called grace. That's gratitude, reflection, affirmation, connections, and empathy. Welcome to the Gracefully Growing podcast, where we provide you with real talk, real growth, and real life tools to help you thrive in school and in life. I am Dr. Kemi, author, educator, speaker, and gratitude advocate, as well as mom to an amazing 13-year-old sunshine. I'm so excited that you have chosen to continue on this journey with me as we explore the 5 key principles that will guide you to a fulfilling life. These 5 key principles, I mentioned them just earlier, are gratitude, reflection, affirmations, connections, as well as empathy. If this is your first time with me, let me say this. Each week, I break down how to live with intentionality and thrive in this wild journey called life using the aforementioned principles. And we put all of this together in something that I call the grace framework. Before I continue, help me get to my first 1,000 subscribers. If you're catching this before I reach 1,000 subscribers, please help me get to my first 1,000 subscribers by subscribing today, sharing, and commenting on the video. I promise you, I respond to every single comment on my videos. Share this so I continue to create more valuable and engaging materials for you. Now, today's episode is one that, let's be real, might already be making your palms sweaty just thinking about it. That is test anxiety. Yep, it's that dreaded feeling when your brain decides to play hide and seek with everything you studied the night before. Oh, I hate that. But before we begin, I want you to grab your notebook, your journal. If you don't have a journal, open the notes app on your phone so you can take some notes. If you're looking for a journal that can help you on this journey, I have written the Affirmation Gratitude Journal. It's available on Amazon. And of course, I'm going to post a link to it in the show notes. So let's get right into it. Talking about testing anxiety. Have you ever felt like you studied all night and the test comes and you forgot everything? That's testing anxiety. Mhm. You've been studying for your math test for a week. You got sticky notes everywhere. You watched a few YouTube channels. Maybe you quizzed yourself. You asked your mama to quiz you, or you ask a friend to quiz you. But the moment you sit down, the teacher hands you that test, bam, your brain suddenly says, sorry, we closed for the day. Now your heart is racing, your palms get sweaty, and you cannot remember what 7 times 8 is. Is it 54? Is it 56? By the way, it's 56. All right. It's 56. That, my friends, is test anxiety. That's what it is. It is test anxiety. Here's the thing. You're not broken. You're not lazy or bad at test. Test anxiety is actually super common. And about 1 in 5 students deal with this on a regular basis. And guess what? It's just your brain's way of reacting to pressure, like a fire alarm going off even though there's no fire. Why does test anxiety happen? I know you are dying to know. So let's talk about the science part of your brain and how this operates. Your brain has this thing called the amygdala, basically your personal alarm system. When it senses danger, it goes danger, 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 danger. Like, say, a pop quiz, it flips on your fight or flight switch. Your body thinks you're being chased by a lion, not asked about the Pythagorean theorem. That's why your stomach flips, your heart races, and your mind goes blank. Yep. But here's the good news: you can teach your brain to chill out. And that's where our grace framework comes in. Let's use the grace framework to break this down. I want you to think about this like your survival toolkit for your test days. Starting with gratitude. Before you test, pause and write down 3 things you're grateful for. Why? Because gratitude shifts your brain away from fear and into a place of calmness. So instead of thinking, I'm going to fail, you're reminding yourself, I've got people who support me, I have opportunities, and hey, I actually studied. Reflection. Ask yourself this: what's really going on here? Am I scared of the test itself or of what it means if I don't do well? Sometimes the anxiety is more about the pressure, like keeping your GPA up, impressing your parents, or making sure you can still play your desired sport, whether it's basketball, football, soccer, tennis, swimming, or what have you. So that's sometimes where your anxiety will come from. So reflecting helps you to untangle your real fear. Maybe you realize, oh, it's not math that I'm scared of, it's letting someone down. Once you name it, you can tame it. Let's talk about affirmation. Yo, this is where you hype yourself up. This is kind of like being your own personal coach, your own personal hype person. So I want you to say things like this: I am prepared and I can handle this, with the attitude too. I am more than one test score. Or even, I am smarter than my Wi Fi on a bad day. The key is repetition. Say it in your head, whisper it under your breath. Or if you're feeling bold, say it in the mirror like you're giving a TED talk. I promise you, you got this. Let's talk about connections. Talk it out. Find a friend, a teacher, or even a sibling and say, hey, I'm nervous about this test. Sometimes just saying it out loud lowers the weight. Let the people in your circle support you. Do you understand? Let the people in your circle support you. If at this point you don't have people in your circle that support you on these types of days, it is time for you to check your friendship circle. And of course, in turn, you can be that support to somebody else. Finally, give yourself grace. I will never get tired of saying this. Give yourself grace. If you didn't do as well as you hoped on that test, it's not the end of the world. Treat yourself with the same kindness you'd give a friend. You wouldn't tell your best friend you failed and you're worthless, would you? So don't say that to yourself either. Instead, I want you to say, okay, this wasn't my best test, but I'll learn from it and try again. Test, measure knowledge on a single day, not your value as a person. Listen, y'all, let me tell you. If you have not caught the episode of how I failed my jam test at 16, yeah, I want you to go watch that episode. Also, I don't know if I've ever spoken this one out loud, but I failed my comprehensive exam while I was in my doctoral program. Yes, I did. I did. Now, the comprehensive exam is the exam that you take after you've completed your coursework to get a doctorate. At the school that I attended, you literally write this exam, which is kind of like an open book. You're writing for days over a 7-day period. Okay. So it's over a 7-day period. Now, can you imagine that you put in hours, and I put in hours upon hours upon hours of work to get a failing grade? Y'all, I cried. I cried. I did. I cried. And I remember when I was crying, my mom asked me, is there anything that can be done? I said, yes, there's something that can be done. And then she says to me, do it. Who do you need to call? What do you need to do? So I leaned into my connection, and my connection at the time was a professor at the school. So I called her, and she said to me, she said, send me your test scores. So I sent her everything that I had. And then when she reviewed it and she called me back and she said, okay, let's put a plan in place. Step number 1, call your reviewers and talk to them. I was like, oh, okay. So that's what I did. I called the people that reviewed my comprehensive exam and I spoke to them. It was 2 ladies, and I spoke to them and I wrote down everything they told me I needed to do to improve my score for the next time. So let's pause for a minute and look at the gratitude in that moment. And the gratitude in that moment is that I was given the opportunity to be able to fix my mistakes on the test and resubmit. The gratitude is I had somebody in my network that I could talk to that could help me with a plan of action. So here are some quick hacks for test days that I want to offer you. First, do not stay up all night cramming for a test. Your brain files away memories while you are sleeping. So staying up all night and skipping sleep is like trying to run an app with no Wi-Fi. Things just would not load. So on the night before a test, set a reasonable bedtime for yourself. Make sure you go to sleep. Make sure you get adequate sleep. That's number 1. Step number 2, eat smart. Eat a balanced breakfast with proteins and carbs. It's better than just drinking, say, soda and eating a donut. Trust me, that sugar will cause you to crash mid-test. Number 3, breathe. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, and exhale for 4 counts. Do that 3 times. That slows your heart rate down. Number 4, shift your perspective. Instead of saying, I have to take this test, try, I get to show what I know. I know it sounds cheesy, but I promise you it works. So here's what I want you to do after this episode. Grab a notebook and make your own Grace Test Day toolkit. Write down 3 gratitude prompts. One reflection question you'll ask yourself. Two affirmations you love. One person you connect with before a test. And a kind message you tell yourself afterwards. When my son took the when he took his 5th grade Georgia milestones test, his teacher that we sent in words of encouragement to be placed on his desk before he started the test. He was taking 4 tests: math, English, science, and social studies. I wrote 4 notes and I sent them in an envelope to his teacher. And so she placed the notes on his desk each day before he took a test. So when he brought the notes home, he told me that he really truly appreciated those kind messages to him. I want you to write down your own kind message, or ask your parent or anybody in your community to write you a kind message if you're about to take a test. When I drop my son off every day, I always tell him, go be amazing. He actually had 2 tests today and he was a little concerned about the test. And I reminded him, you have studied, you slept well, you had a good breakfast, you got this. So next time you have a quiz or a test, I want you to try out your Grace Test Day Toolkit. And what is that again? 3 gratitude prompts, 1 reflection question you'll ask yourself, 2 affirmations you love, 1 person you connect with before your test, and a kind message that you tell yourself later. And listen, you can DM me or drop a comment to let me know how it's going. I love to hear your stories, especially your affirmations and your gratitude list. Who knows, maybe I'll share them in a future episode. Remember, your grades matter, but they don't define you. You are smart, you are capable, and you're resilient. And with grace, you got everything you need to face test anxiety head on. Until next time, stay graceful, stay growing, and remember, you got this. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Gracefully Growing. Thank you so much for tuning in and growing with me. Remember, living with grace means showing gratitude, taking the time for reflection, speaking powerful affirmations, building strong connections, and practicing daily empathy with yourself and others. If today's episode gave you something to think about, inspired you, or made you smile, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can also download today's free resource in the show notes and join our Gracefully Growing community on social media for more tools, encouragement, and real talk. Until next time, keep showing up for yourself, keep growing, and most of all, keep living with grace. I am Dr. Kemi. See you next week.